Well, hello everybody. Hope you're doing good today. We're going to continue on here in First Kings with a little bit different thought for the day. I titled this lesson here, "When Your Little Can Be Overcomes a Big Can't." Now that's kind of a strange title, but we're going to be back on Elijah. And the same one that we talked about on Wednesday. Now, on the timeline, this is before Elijah got disheartened and wound up in the cave, and the Lord allowed him to have a little pity on himself. The Lord took pity on him. He does that for us. And he dusted him off and put him on back on his way, and he done even greater things after that than he had but with the help of the Lord now. Because just don't let me say he did them by himself, because we cannot do anything by ourselves that's good. Anything that's good is because the Lord is doing it through us. But we're going to back up, and this is Elijah's been very obedient to the Lord in every move he's made up to this point, and is still being obedient to the Lord. He had been by a stream that the Lord told him to go to. The Lord had sent ravens to feed him, to bring him food, meat and bread. And if you know anything about ravens, they like first cousins of the crows. They don't bring anything by their nature. They are takers. But the Lord intervened and changed the hearts of those ravens and the minds of those ravens over at this point in time to serve his purpose and to bring Elijah food and give it to him instead of being the camp robbers that they're known to be. God's awesome. I don't know if y'all have witnessed that yet, but he really is. But anyway, let's get on with this lesson here, where somebody who could do a little, who can or could do something little, by doing that for the Lord, later on overcome something big that they could not have handled. It'll make sense if you stick with me for about another 6 or 7 minutes or so, with the help of the Lord. 1 Kings 17 and chapter 17, verse 8 said, "And the word of the Lord came unto him," talking about Elijah, saying, "Arise, get thee to Zaphareth, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee." Now, this is important. The widow woman was not a Jew. This widow woman, up to that point in time, probably had heard of the Lord, but did not know the Lord. But the Lord was using her just like he used them ravens to help his man Elijah to do his will. So he can do that. He does do that for us. When he sends us somewhere, he prepares a way ahead of us, and then he goes with us. But anyway, let's continue on. I'm going to skip a little piece of this and drop down to the end of verse 10. Elijah saw this woman out there and she was picking up sticks going across down through there, and the Lord revealed to him, "That's the woman I was telling you about." Well, he spoke to her. He said, "Fetch me, I pray thee." That means he asked her, "A little water in a vessel that I may drink." And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, "Bring me, I pray thee," again asking her, "a morsel of bread in thine hand." And she said, "As the Lord thy God liveth, uh, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die." Now, those couple of verses there say a whole lot, but what they's talking about, there'd been a famine because Elijah had prayed that it wouldn't rain, and it hadn't rained. Well, it affected these people too, as well as the Jews over in the other place. So she had run out of everything she had to eat, and there was nobody there to help her because she was a widow woman. But the Lord commanded her to take care of this man, and She tells him, as the Lord thy God liveth, not her God. He wasn't her God at that time. But let's go ahead. She's picking up 2 sticks, so you know she ain't going to build no big fire out of that. But and she told him that that was all they had, and they were gonna. When she said dress it, that means prepare it so they could eat it, bake it, or whatever she was gonna do over those 2 sticks, that they could eat it and die. Why were they gonna die? Because they're starving to death. That's why they were gonna die, and that was the end of it. And she knew that. And Elijah said unto her, "Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after that make for thee and thy son." Verse 15 says, and she did accordingly, that she went and did according to what the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days. Well, you say, how in the world did they do that? That was all she had. And you said, this is a little thing. She's going to give him part of the last food that she and her son had. And that's not a little thing. Well, when you stop and think about it, she's going to die anyway, because they didn't have anything else to eat. He didn't want it all. He just wanted the first part of it, which is what we're supposed to give the Lord, by the way. We don't give him what's left over. We give him the first part because he really gives us everything. But anyway, she did what he told her to do. And verse 16 explains how they ate for many days. Verse 16 said, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake to Elijah. The Lord had told Elijah that if the woman would do what he had asked her to do, that he would not let her meal nor her oil run out until that drought was over. Now, that was some miraculous, divine miracle that God performed right there for that woman. Now, so she did. She could have said, no, I ain't going to give you a bite of bread. I'm going to use that for me and my son because we're going to die anyway. She could have done that, but she didn't. So that's what I'm talking about, that little can. Although it seems pretty good size, she can being able to. We can do a lot of things that maybe be a little bit uncomfortable for us, for the Lord. But when we go ahead and do it and are obedient to him, it works out in the end. Now, you saying, well, it did work out for her because her meal and her oil didn't run out for many days because she was obedient. That's right. But get a hold of this, because she done her little can there and gave him the first bite of that bread before her and her son ate the rest of it, in addition to the meal not running out and her being able to eat for many days because of that. That wasn't the cant that I'm talking about. Verse 17 says, and it came to pass after these days that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. So her boy died. And she said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of God? Art thou come unto me and call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son? So she was thinking, I don't get let you stay here taking care of you for these many days, and now my son's died. Why is that? Is that because you recall to God all my sins? So she's admitting the fact. She knew she was a sinner. Verse 19 said, and he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up to the loft where he abode and laid him upon his own bed. So Elijah was living in some small room in the upper part of her house, and he had a bed there. And he took the boy up there. That's what it tells us. The body of the boy was dead. Verse 20 said, and he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow whom I sojourned by slaying her son? He had no idea that boy was going to die. So he was praying to the Lord, asking. And, we can ask the Lord questions. He don't mind that. But we need to be obedient. He wants us to understand certain things. Verse 21 said, and he stretched, talking about Elijah, he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come unto him again. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman saith to Elijah, Now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and that the word of the Lord is in thy mouth is truth. So there you go. She done this little can in the very beginning and gave him a little bit of bread, although she thought they were fixing to die anyway. The big Kent, when that boy died, if she had not have fed Elijah, they'd have died a long time before that because they'd have starved to death. But if she had continued, in addition to that, even if by some way, hook or crook, she had found a way to feed him and keep him alive to that point, when he died right there, the man of God would not have been there. But the man of God was left there by the Lord to do just that. And that tells you that was the big Kent. She could not have overcome the death of her son, but the Lord put a person there to help her in her time of need, because she gave and done the little can that was a little difficult and a little uncomfortable, but she was obedient at the time that the Lord told her and had commanded her to take care of this man. And she did it. So that little can helped her overcome that big Kent of losing her son. I hope you got a little bit out of this. This is Friday. Remember the people that are deployed. And remember, this is the day of salvation. If you don't know the Lord, you need to accept him today. If you do know him, get out there and tell somebody about it. I love you. The Lord loves you, and I hope y'all have a good and safe weekend.